Hey, holistic healers. Want to know if this podcast is for you? Let's find out. Blue Sage Holistic Healing is a health-based spiritual community emphasizing the use of Eastern and Western techniques to prevent and treat disease. We focus on the mind, body, spirit, the divine, and beyond as a means of self-healing and using the least invasive interventions necessary. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Blue Sage Holistic Healing Podcast. My name is Ashley Francis, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist here in the Charlotte area, and I'm also your host. And today I am with the lovely Keli. I'm not going to say your last name right.
it's Semelsberger. And you can say it any way you want to. I'm all right with it. I've heard it all.
Keli Semelsberger. And Keli, she's been a corporate trainer for over 25 years. She's an improv comedy performer, trainer, and director for 20, and a Reiki master and energy healer for 8. She considers all aspects of her life to be intertwined in the art of energy, movement, and increasing joy for herself and all of the people she works with in every field. Her primary goal is to take every experience as a learning opportunity and to share as much laughter as she can while she's here. Her focus is on living in the moment, manifesting joy, and seeing magic in everyday occurrences. Improv comedy is known as a challenging comedic performance art, yes it is, which Keli has been teaching, directing, and performing for over a quarter of a century. As Keli expanded her worldview by traveling to sacred places and training with master spiritual teachers, she came to understand that improv was not just her art and her job, it was her medicine. Not only was it her practice to soothe her own soul, but it was the way in which she has been able to be a hollow bone and let the healing energy of divine play move through her and transform the lives of her students. Her book, Improv Shaman, The Transformative Journey of Divine Play, is her love letter to improv and to all the brave souls willing to live in the moment, to accept themselves and others as they are, and to co-create with the world by saying yes and. So thank you for being here, Keli.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, I met Keli because she's my coach at Improv Comedy through the Charlotte Comedy Theater. Thank you. Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah. So I'm 3-4 sessions in, something like that. So still brand new, loving it. She's amazing. So I figured, hey, why not bring an amazing person on the podcast and learn from her. What she's teaching me is that improv is definitely a way of doing therapy.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not that it was necessarily intended to be, but all of the things that you need in order to be an improv comedy performer, an artist, is you need to be able to live in the moment. You have to be mindful. You have to listen. You have to psychoanalyze your character and your other friend's whoever's playing with you's character very quickly to find out what's going on and to and then to pull it forward. And the thing about improv is it requires such honesty and such what would I want to say? It's all about us having permission to be who we are and to react in the moment. And in the real world, we're told not to react. We're like, keep it down. Don't let anybody see you sweat. Don't let anybody see what you're feeling on the inside. And for improv comedy to work, we have to be expressive. We have to react to one another. We have to go, get freaked out and be real present with the things we're really feeling, which is the opposite of what it's like to be an adult in America in these days. And that honesty brings things to the surface, how people are really feeling. And it's hilarious. That's what makes people funny. It's not that you can tell jokes, because improv isn't about telling jokes. It's about the human condition. And we're all so scared and fragile and powerful and amazing. And when you can dig deep enough to see the roots of who people are, you see the beauty and majesty of people. And so this art form requires you to do that, not just as individuals that are students or performers, but even as the characters. We're exposing the characters' weaknesses. We're exposing, which come from our collective characters, right? So
what does that mean? Collective characters.
Well, there's all of us together. We're so linked with one another that there isn't a part of me that isn't a part of you. There isn't some fear or pain or joy that I experience that you haven't,
Right.
or everybody else hasn't.
Right.
So the collective consciousness gets unveiled in an improv comedy show. And that's why people laugh at it if it's done well, if it's done with authenticity. And it's not about trying to be funny. It's about trying to be as human as you can. And in being human, just that raw human, we're hilarious. Because if you can imagine, like, if somebody followed you around with a camera and you didn't know about it, not like regular reality TV, like, it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
The way you talk to yourself, the neurotic things you do, the thoughts you have, that, you know, even storytellers in movies, they're now doing the people's thoughts.
Yes.
Like in the I think it's Netflix has that
Mhm.
the bad guy, the
Yep.
killer, they tell his thoughts, which
Yep.
are hilarious. Even though he's a killer, you kind of like him. But our internal dialogue, all that stuff is, if we have, once we have access to that, and we deem it all worthy and important, then it becomes a tool for our self-expression and our understanding of ourselves, and our understanding of ourselves in connection with all other human beings.
Yeah.
Because none of our experiences are isolated. There's nothing that I can do on stage that it's only people of my age that are female are going to get.
Right.
Because I'm a human being and I'm having a human experience,
Right.
not just a woman experience or somebody's over 50 experience.
Yeah.
So it really brings out how connected we are, how alike we are. And as you know, in our classes, we're very inclusive. So it also allows people to have that vulnerability with people they never would have met, maybe.
Right.
They would never come in contact with, from different backgrounds, socioeconomic statuses, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then this beautiful friendship and bonding occurs. And people learn from each other in a way that we don't in the rest of society, which has caused our divisions.
Right.
Right. So there's so many beautiful, amazing things about these classes and what they do. And, you know, just Charlotte Comedy Theater has been around for 20 years, but I've been doing this for 26. And I never ceases to amaze me. Like, it's almost like watching people get their wings. It's like miracle after miracle after miracle. People
That
just
is therapy.
becoming who they are. That is therapy, right? To watch somebody just come into their full expression of themselves.
Yeah.
And we do it by playing games. So it doesn't seem serious like therapy. So some people may not, because there's a stigma
Right.
about going to therapy. They may not go to therapy. Their family may not go to therapy with them, but they're having problems with their family. They can act those out on stage in a safe place with us.
Right.
And then learn new skills while they're playing that they can then take home to their family in a less safe place, or work, or wherever they're having problems, and repeat that behavior they learned in class, and then go, oh, it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it really is like a playground of a safe place, where people can try new behaviors. They can try, like, what if I really told somebody how I felt? What would happen?
Yeah.
You know,
Like, really what I felt.
Really what I felt,
Yeah.
you know, and there's some, like, you know, even in our class, you have some people that are very quiet, very reserved people that you can tell are holding a lot. There will be one point in class with this group that those particular people, I'm going to encourage them to be just as mean as they can be. And it's hilarious because they're just not used to it. But then when they finally start being able to let some of that energy out of their body, that is of their own power, real shifts start to happen for them.
For real.
You know, and you can see them go, oh, I just had this moment of feeling that. You know, it's like if you had never been in a car with the top down and you feel the wind on your face and you're like, from now on, I want to be in the car with the top down.
Yeah.
You know, to feel that, because some people have been repressed like that. Most of us have been.
Sure. Right.
School. I mean, parents, well-meaning institutions have tried to make us, you know, at least this is how you behave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I teach improv and I teach people, be free, be yourself. But I also have kids and grandkids. I'm like, you cannot do that there. You know, like
Right.
I have to put down, I want them acceptable in society. At least I
Right.
want them to be able to get jobs and get out of my house.
Right.
So, so there has to be some of that coaching in there too, but we've gone to an extreme of making people cookie cutters.
Yeah. Right. Right. And we lose this permission to play.
Yeah.
It's like we need that permission. And you do such a good job with that.
Thank you.
Huge impact that it's had on me to just create this space of like, just don't give a fuck. Just do whatever comes to mind and just do it.
There's no repercussions. Worst thing's going to happen. We're going to laugh.
Yeah.
In a comedy environment, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, fuck up on purpose.
Yeah. That's what I say.
That's what I take away from it so much is you need to practice fucking up on purpose.
Yes. Because we spend our whole life being neurotic about not fucking up. Like I can even see when I say, okay, here's how we're going to do this game. Everybody, like, they're trying before they get there to improvise, to figure out what they're going to do when they get there. And I'm like, you don't know what's going to come to you. You can't, I see you thinking, stop, you're
Right.
cheating. but it's
Right.
not going to help you. You're just going to create something, an expectation. Like I said in the first class, that, it's not Dallas. The Buddhist statement is like, life is suffering, but it's only suffering if you expect things to be different than they are. So when we start planning things on how we want the outcome to be, and we don't meet that outcome, or the world doesn't meet that outcome, we tend to suffer.
Right.
So we become neurotic, trying to keep the suffering from happening. When you don't have attachment to outcome, and in improv, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yes.
Right. So if you don't have the attachment to outcome, you can't get upset about how it goes.
Yes.
Which for me also shows how lazy I am and why I don't do stand up. Because then I would have some outcome, right? If I had it written down, like, well, it should look like this. And I'm like, I don't have that.
Oh, okay.
So my friend said, do stand up. I'm like, good on you. Cause I can't deal with that kind of pressure.
Right.
Even if I wrote
Yeah.
it myself, I don't want to have an expected delivery,
Right.
or something I have to get to. I have nothing to get to. I have a free range in front of me.
Right.
And because now I've been doing this long enough to be comfortable with that. I'm more comfortable with that than, having an outcome, having a goal that I had to achieve. I keep things very fuzzy as far as goals,
Right.
like,
And you
but
get there anyway.
I'll get there anyway.
Yeah.
And exceedingly so, way better than had I micromanaged it.
Yeah.
Because I also let the universe take part in it. It's not just me, this little tiny microcosm of a soul in a body, right? Deciding I'm going to do all these things when there's all these millions of things going on. How do I know what's supposed to happen?
Exactly.
I might know what I'm supposed, but about what I might want or what I would like to experience. And generally, if I go, oh, I want to do this, like I want to take this trip or whatever, I don't have to figure out how to get there or how much money I need or whatever. I can just go, okay, by this date, I want to be here, and it will happen.
Yeah.
One thing at a time. I do a lot of corporate team building workshops too. Like a corporate gig will come up. And I'm like, oh, there's my trip.
There it is.
Right.
Mhm.
So I let the universe have a lot of hand in it too. So there's a lot of trust involved.
Yeah.
And there's trust in being an improviser. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust the team that you work with. You also have to trust the universe.
Yeah.
And my belief is that the universe, no matter what is happening, even if it seems like it's a negative thing, I know I don't know the whole picture. I'm not at eagle looking down. I'm down here like a little ant, a blade of grass. I can't see what else is going on. I trust spirit to do that for me. So if something doesn't happen, I want to have happen, I'm being redirected into the right path for
Right.
me. Because I don't know.
Right.
I've seen when I'm in control, I make my choices. They are not good. So I'm gonna let spirit do it. So I try not to get really bent. Even when, COVID happened and my business got shut down, that was my only income, and it was devastating. And I cried for like 30 minutes. And then I was like, when like even my venue closed, like when it wasn't just gonna be a couple months.
Right.
Then it was like, oh, this is real. Like
Right.
you may never do your craft again.
Here. In that location.
Or anywhere. I mean, that closed down, but then as it went on and on and on, I'm like, we may never, and there's new variants. It's like live theater. And especially the way we on stage, you see how close we get to each other on the
Yeah.
show. Like we'll sometimes throw each other around and jump on each other's backs. Like it's a very intimate sport. I was like, I may never be able to do what I did, what I've been doing, what I've done for over a quarter of a century, my whole adult
Wow.
life. This is what I did. So it's like,
Wow.
I'm pretty unqualified to do it. I'm jealous. I mean, I always had a corporate job too. So for the most part, but I didn't want to go back to it. And then I was like, okay, well, if I'm being redirected, then there's something else for me
Right.
that I will love, that I can put my energy to as much as I love and put my energy to this. Because my prayer early on was, let me be of service. I don't have the intellect or tenacity to be a physician or to be a lot of things that I would love to help the world in. I'm a smart ass, and that's my way of working in the world. This is who I am. This way spirit made me. So if I ask for spirit to guide me into what I'm supposed to be doing to serve the world based on who I was created to be,
Yes.
then I'm in an authentic path, and then all the doors open.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't struggles or I didn't have to work for it, because I have very hard, but I loved it. It's what I love. It's my passion. So, like the old saying is, if you do what you love for a living, it's never work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's work. That's a lie. It's still hard work. There's times like even today that's a lie. That's such a lie. I don't like it. It's lovely because it's worth it. All the sweat is worth it.
Yes.
So when I see your group, when you guys get to be on stage, I'll cry. Like I will get so excited. Like I'll be like, like I
We're
get
your
more freaked out
babies.
than anybody else. I'll be like, look at them go, So I live for that. Like that is such a big thing. Like I get teared up just thinking about it. because I get to watch so imagine if you had all the people that all your clients in one group and you got to see them move together, which is why group therapy is also very popular and very important.
Yeah.
It is so good to go, I'm not alone and other people have these thoughts and whatever. And we discover a lot of that in improv. And again, there's no stigma to improv really. Other than, it's joked about as in certain ways, but it wasn't until I got deep and I could see part of that bio. I was like, oh, I've been doing it longer than that. Like I haven't updated that in a very long time. So when I was, and I've been working with energy medicine for almost 20 years now. There was a point where I just came to all these epiphanies and broke out of, you come through and feel like you're alive and your soul's back and you're exactly who you're supposed to be. There's a point you get there and you're like, doesn't mean life stops being difficult, but you're like, I am who I am. And you become grounded in that. And you're like, I am me. I am whole and great. I'm ready for the journey now.
Right.
Usually happens after 50. Like now I'm ready.
I was going to ask, do you feel like age has something to do with that? Is it, how much of it that is spirit? How much of that is experience and age for you?
For me, I would, and what I'm experiencing with a lot of my friends who are also medicine women or medicine men, right? It's the age of sage. I think there's certain things you have to go through that take time, including grief, whether it's addictions, because everybody has some sort of addiction. Like I was addicted to cigarettes forever. I think you just have to have so many struggles before you realize, first of all, the things about yourself that you would like to improve and to realize the beauty of your soul, because you have to come through so many things to go, I am tough. I can make this. I am a warrior.
Yeah.
And
you got to go through that.
You have to go through that. You have to be a victim sometimes before you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and say, this isn't for me. I will no longer be that person, regardless of what my past experiences are. I relieve myself of carrying these burdens like trophies. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to have them.
Yeah.
You got to carry them for a while and see what they do to you in your relationships and how they weather your soul before you go, I don't need any of this. And it's not mine anyway. This is somebody else's I've been carrying around.
Yes.
Yes. This was the bad guy's stuff. And now I'm doing it to myself and they're not even around. Like you have to, I think, go through that. And that's why I think like almost after 50 is such a, where to put your attention and your time. To me, my most valuable thing in the world to me is time. You can take all my belongings, my time with my children, my time with my grandchildren, my time with my dogs, my time with my theater. My time is everything to me. Not because I feel like it's running out. I feel like I have plenty. I think I have almost as much on that of this, going through all these lessons as I do behind me. And now I'm like, these are going to be fun because I don't have to go through all that. I already did it. I did the work, right?
Yes.
So now I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. Now I have boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, no. And I don't feel like I have to explain why no, why I say no. I don't have to explain why I don't want that sound or smell around me. I don't have to explain why I want to be around a person or don't. I'm just like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And I can stand in that. And I don't think that confidence comes, and some people have it early on, but for me, especially a lot of the trauma that I went through in my life, which was quite severe at times, I had to really go through it and I had to heal from it. I had to do shadow work. I had to really, be in those dark places and then come up for air and then go, okay, this is not the place for me. And then pull myself out and go, okay, I'm up here now.
You make it sound so easy.
It is. Well, I'm telling you, this took years. I'm 55 now. So, now here's the thing too, though, is during my life, even energy medicine, you couldn't say 20 years ago. I would never have said I was a holistic practitioner 20 years ago.
How come?
15 to 10. It wasn't widely accepted. Maybe new age, or just any kind of, and still, I think that's that inherent fear of maybe from past lives or whatever you want to call it, of being burned at the stake. But now it's like, maybe cancel culture, or just everybody's going to think you are not like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businesswoman,
right?
But you're not necessarily a serious businesswoman or teacher or whatever. If also I spend, I go to fire dances. I spend, 3 days in the woods banging drums and not eating and drinking and chanting and having a good old time. Yeah. But I have integrated those parts of myself It's easier for me because I am an improv comedian too. So kind of people are like, yeah, whatever, Kelly's gonna do whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm already considered a little weird.
Yeah.
If you are, and I'm sure you've dealt with this as a professional, a degreed professional, like bringing those
Every day.
yeah, those
Every
two
day.
parts in. Some people still really look to it, and the way I look at it is like what we are practicing in energy medicine is not new age. It is ancient. Long before there were therapists and doctors and CVSs and prescription drugs, we had shaman, we had medicine women and medicine men, and we survived as a species because of them.
Right.
Western medicine is new aged.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a couple thousand years old,
Mm-hmm.
really, at that.
Look at that perspective.
Right. So what really is new age? Because we're learning ancient things, and I deal with plant medicine as well.
Yeah.
That's ancient. I had to learn. Nobody taught me about lamb's ear or any of these different herbs that I use now when my family gets sick.
Right.
And I balance that with Western medicine. It's not that we don't go to the doctor, but if it's,
there's
smaller
other ways,
things,
there's other options.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is one of the chief reasons why I created this podcast, is to educate people and to inform them that,
Yeah.
hey, you don't have to always do it this way. There's a whole lot of other things out there. Doesn't mean that you have to replace it, but why not do it in addition to, or you could replace it.
Right.
How great would that be?
Right.
If you could do something natural.
Yeah. My kids, I used to have this huge pharmacy of teas, but when I left my house, sorry about that.
Sorry.
When I left my house during COVID, I had to sell it actually to survive on. I had to get rid of all my teas, but my kids were like, you got a cold? Mom's got a tea for that. IRS audit? Mom's got a tea for it. Like got a lame foot? Mom's got a tea for it. So I'd be like, oh, let me mix you something, because I had all these different teas because I was really, really into it. And that's also when I quit drinking and smoking, because I had teas that could give me, the calmness. And then at the same time, in my energy medicine practice and everything I've studied and some of the amazing masters I got to study with, is I was learning coping skills.
Yes.
So you need those, whatever we were using before, like me with cigarettes since I was like 15, and drinking, all those things. That's what I did to cope, because I didn't have any skills and nobody taught me I needed them.
Right.
But
those aren't coping skills.
They are not. They're masking and
Right.
they're bypassing skills.
Right.
And now people talk about this. I mean, nobody did yoga then. Nobody, it wasn't common knowledge that you needed exercise to be healthy. It wasn't common knowledge that you need to speak to people.
Yeah.
Sadly, there's been so much trauma that's happened to us as human beings in the last few years. However, it has really opened the door, and I'm sure you've experienced this in your field, for people to say therapy is important. There's been so many mental health issues with people because the world just got turned upside down. Teenagers, especially, really have been hammered.
Yeah.
And to say that mental health is more streamlined. I mean, like mainstream, just like to say, hey, it's great to work out. It's great to get physical exercise. Riding a bike is better than taking your car to work, going up the stairs instead of the elevator, going to a therapist instead of, I don't know, cutting yourself.
Right.
It was not something when I was younger that was ever, people didn't talk about it.
Right.
They didn't talk about it. They didn't express it.
Or let alone, Jesus Christ, go to a therapist.
Oh, heaven forbid you were weak.
Yeah.
Or even, and I did it. I got this a little bit in my journey, even now when I quit drinking.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like, and people were like, oh, so I got this look like, I must have like destroyed my life and burned it to the ground, oh,
Right. Yeah.
Did you wake up in a gutter
with
your pants on your head? No, I just
once.
yeah. And that I chose. That was a good time. That was a date. So yeah, there's that stigma of like, well, how bad did you screw up? Like, I acclimated into not being one of my behaviors anymore.
Yeah. I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah. I supplement it with tea and liking myself and being present. Crazy.
Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think also if you're very sensitive, most holistic practitioners are, right? It's not something we chose, by the way. We had to figure out how to protect ourselves. And by then, and I think in learning to protect yourself from other people's energy is when you get turned on to energy medicine, at least for me, and you go, oh, wait, this is a thing.
Mhm.
That's why somebody walks by me and all of a sudden I want to cry or shout. I
Right.
get it now.
And there's other people that feel this way too.
Yes. There are other people that are like, or HSPs, highly sensitive people.
Yeah.
The research now is that 20% of our population
Really?
is an HSP, and it is not a personality. It's a personality trait. It's not any kind of a disorder.
Right.
And I liken it to this. You know, when you see a documentary about a bunch of deer out like in the Serengeti and they're all just eating, and there's a couple of them that go,
Mm-hmm.
everybody else is eating. They're like, guys. And then when those guys go, run, everybody else goes, "Oh, we run.
Right.
We are that for the human species.
That's a great metaphor. Love that.
You know, we are like,
we sensed it before it was here.
yes, something's happening,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And there's, you know, there's been a you know, like people could say the awakening, you know, there's been a huge amount of acceptance now and people pursuing metaphysical and holistic fields. I think because society needs it now.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be awakening to it if it wasn't something that wasn't needed in this time and space for humanity.
In this dimension and
Everything.
forth,
Yeah. And our ability to connect across the globe with one another, to put things, there are a lot of bad things about social media, a lot of insipid nastiness, and negative energy can go through the lines just like positive can.
Mm-hmm.
But it allows us to see and be connected to one another and see that we are not alone in the world, not just your local place. Right. So we have this dynamic global experience now, because I think the earth, everyone on the earth, you know, we know with global warming and everything else, we really have to rise to a higher level. And so all of us are kind of being lit up, is the way I look at it. It's like these tiny little Christmas lights all around the globe where people are waking up and going, hey, I've been living in a way that is inauthentic to me. I don't think it's the way human beings should live. And I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Which is why people are quitting their jobs like crazy.
Right.
It's not because they don't need money. It's like they're not willing to do what they were doing for the money.
Yeah. It's the new Me Too.
Yeah, it is. It's like, what am I doing? What have I been giving my life energy to? It's the same thing about time. Like I was talking about, time is my life source energy. I don't know how much I have here.
Mm-hmm.
But I certainly don't want to spend it doing documents or being on Zoom calls, or what a lot of people do.
Right.
And there are a lot of jobs that people are doing. I did them myself that weren't that necessary. It's busy work, bureaucracy.
Yeah.
You know, things could be a lot more streamlined.
For sure.
Human beings survived for millions of years before we became industrialized and started working like this.
Right. But in the fact that we can be so unconscious to that, like, I don't even know to ask myself, is there another option? Is there something else I could be doing? And I'm speaking for myself, that also working in corporate jobs, I took it so fucking seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I mean something. This is so important. And when I'm staying after 5 and I'm working 50 hours a week, that means something. That's a badge of honor.
Well, you know why? Is we have been, and this is like, to me, such, I had to use the word sin, but such a terrible thing about our society. From the moment you were little, you've been told that your value is tasks, right? You got to learn how to read and write so you can go to school and you can get a job. We've been talking about our kids getting in the job market since they first go to school, and then you get graded. Oh, D's, or you talk too much in class or whatever. It's like, you're being graded. This is your value.
Yeah.
Whether you get in trouble or not, whether you get to go to special events, or you get to be part of the writing competition, or you get to go to college, is based on someone else's idea of your value.
Right.
And even going to college, it's always about tasks. Get your homework done. Do.
Right. And achievements.
Yeah. And so even when my kids were little, I remember being very frustrated because I'm like, my daughter was in school today. Why does she have 4 hours of homework when she gets home? That's your job, not mine. I worked all day. Why? I don't want to yell at my kid now.
Yeah.
Now you've put this experience on me that now I have to make my child do a task other than eat dinner, hang out with her family, have a bath or a shower,
and be a kid.
Now you're putting the task because of some, I don't know why these teachers or the school board or whoever decided that my child has to do these things. And usually if you look at like, this is busy work.
Yeah.
But she didn't learn this in class with you. What? She said she shouldn't be doing it at home, but you can't fight that battle.
And no wonder we don't know how to play.
There's no playtime. It's not built into our life.
Yeah.
And if you, and the few times, and this is why also drinking and drugs have become a big deal, because that's adult playtime. We even call them adult beverages.
Right.
So we have permission to go get drunk at a bar. Any of our behaviors excuse if that's what we do.
Yes.
Or go hang out and do drugs. But that's our only social time usually, is always around these vices that we don't really need. If we were able to play, they even some places, sometimes at my daughter's school, they didn't have recess. And they should never take that away. Never take away nap time or recess.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, matter of fact, that's our tagline this is Charlotte Comedy Theater where the big kids play.
Yeah.
So it's a recess time for adults.
Yeah.
If children were allowed to continue that play, even in high school, and it was put in as part of your daily, then we would know how to socialize with one another.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't need alcohol to feel like we have to drink so that I can socialize.
Right.
We would have socialization built in, because that's what playtime is.
Right.
And when people play, they socialize on a different level, and they have a good time, and they have a positive memory of each other, a positive experience. So therefore, yes, they want to come back and play with you again and
Right.
hang out with you.
Right.
You know, alcohol doesn't always give you that positive experience. It depends, right?
Yeah, true.
Because it changes your character sometimes. So if part of the systemic problems that we have in our entire communities is because we don't have play,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't make time for it.
Right.
We are told to be task oriented, especially, I've never lived in any other country, but I can tell you for sure in America, it is, what are you doing? Even when I got to where I could run my theater and not have to have a day job, I felt so much guilt about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
And even the partner I had, and I'm going to use that as a very loose term at the time, because there wasn't a whole lot of partnering, was mad that he still had to work in an environment that, well, he chose where to work, but because, well, you get to go play for a living.
Mm.
And I'm like, and I felt really guilty and stuff, like, wait a minute, I constructed this. I'm the one who spent years working 2 jobs. Even when I studied at all the places in Chicago that I did, I cleaned bathrooms. I waited tables for my education because I couldn't afford it.
Right.
You know, and I've been doing this for years and years and years. And now finally, even owning my own business, I still, 15 of the 20 years, I still worked a day job
Mm-hmm.
and raised kids by myself.
Mm.
So I'm like, wait a minute. Like, it was even hard for me to go, I earned this.
Right.
I'm winning. Why are you making me feel bad that I get to be an
Right.
artist for a living now? I've worked my whole life to be an artist for a living.
Yeah.
And I invested in it with my heart and my soul and my money and my time. I invested in it. So I'm getting a reward now. I'm not gonna feel bad for it because you didn't do it.
Right.
You know?
Right. Don't put your shit on me.
Which is, you know, how that went. But it took me a long time to even be courageous enough to claim myself as an artist.
Yeah.
And to say, to go that my work, because I work 20 to 40 hours a week. I still work promoting things and teaching and getting ready for the shows. Even today, like I said, I was going to go paint stools, you know, because we need higher backs in the back. I'm still working all the time. Working as an artist or doing something you love, or as an energy medicine practitioner, is work.
Yeah.
And it is valuable and it's valid and it's needed in our society. And I think we learned when there was no art for 2 years.
Yeah.
For very little, how much we need our artists.
Yes, very much so. The energy healer practitioner that I went to this morning, she said something very similar. She says, I work a lot, but the thing is that I'm in such a state of flow much of that time, not all of the time, but much of that time, that it feels less like work.
Yeah.
And I love the way she said that.
Yeah. And it's not like, I think maybe the term work, because we would say when it's medicine or if it were like our emotional work, you know, or doing our healing work, is not really the same when you know that you are, yes, in flow, you're doing your authentic calling, you're being in a space of moving things forward. Everything I do for my theater, I'm doing for the people that are there.
Yes.
Because the theater isn't the building, it's the people. So
That's
it's my
right.
students
Yeah.
and it's my cast members to provide a home for them.
Yeah.
You know, a place for them to play, a place for them to feel safe, a place to learn and grow. So yeah, that work doesn't feel like much.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's just caretaking in a very positive way, because I get a lot back for it. I've raised children, and I've also taken care of my aunt who did this beautiful painting, and she had dementia and also colostomy bags. There's a lot involved in her care. Well, I had kids and grandkids in the home too. So that kind of care isn't as reciprocal. You know, you're doing the right thing, and you should, you know, for your family and for your kids. Until your kids are in their 20s, you don't get a whole lot back. You guys know this. So they're great now, but those teen years. That this is the kind of work that continually gives back to you. So it keeps your cup full,
Yes.
And
you can feel energized.
Yes.
Even when you're working a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So even like I have so many times had things going in my life where I was just completely destroyed, and literally like it's like before class in the car, just like I can't teach class, and then by the time I get there, I just have such a good time with everybody.
Yeah.
Like I'll even come and go, I'm a wreck. I was crying in the car. I may vomit. I don't know, but let's play, and just
let's make a scene out of that.
Yeah, let's play with it.
Yeah.
Because I tell people, come as you are.
Yeah.
Like, so if I'm in a particularly nasty mood, I may just have nasty characters that day, and everybody knows not to take it seriously. But I could do one or two, and then all of a sudden that nastiness is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm a particular, maybe, there's times obviously I've lost friends and family during all these years. I bring that sadness or that reverie that, I bring that to my characters, and I get to experience it instead of holding it in. I get to bring it out, call it forth. So it's not like, oh, you're at your comedy class now. You had a crappy day. You're supposed to come in like, everything's wonderful. Look, it's like,
show up real.
Yeah, because we can use it. We want to have real interactions and real emotions. Like, who was it yesterday? Somebody said, can you define improv for me? I said, mine would be having real emotions in made up situations. And that's what we're trying to get to. We're gonna make up the situations. The audience is going to give us stuff, but I want you to be really in it.
Yeah.
Really, because there's this place where you get to experience all these emotions and say things you wouldn't say to real people. That's why I'm a horrible character. You saw me last night. Every character was pretty awful.
But I didn't think so.
Oh yeah, but they were fun, awful, right? And I tell people I'm pretty nice in real life. I said my characters are wicked, but I love it. I get to experience saying things and doing things I wouldn't normally do or say, because it wouldn't be socially appropriate or it'd hurt somebody. It's not hurting my player because they know it's a character. So there are parts of me I get to experience on stage in a very safe and playful place that I may not want to let out in any other place.
Sure.
Sure. And so they don't stay hidden.
Yeah.
All aspects of myself, all the shadows I've brought and integrated, they all get to be there.
Right.
So,
and that's what winds up being funny.
Yeah.
The more authentic and the more maybe exaggerated version of what's going on there, that's what winds up being funny.
It is. It's funny. It's just like, I've had that thought before.
Yes. Yes.
We can identify with the darker parts of ourselves. Right. And
or she just freaking said that out loud. How many times have I said that to myself? Like, thank you.
And then felt ashamed for it.
Yeah.
Like there's different, my kids are old enough now, nobody can take them away from me. So I'm going to say this, but there's times you just don't like your kids, and it'll be like for like a year. You're like, look, first of all, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to see a 9-year-old ever. I don't like 9-year-olds. 9-year-olds are sorry. I know. Sure. They're just like little narcissists. Like it's the year of narcissism for human development. I'm just like, I don't want to be around that. Well,
yeah.
I love little ones. But there's times that, and I remember like wanting to tell somebody like some awful secrets, like, I don't like my child. Please don't put me away or take them from me or whatever. But I don't like them.
I love them, but I don't like them right now.
No. I avoid them in the house. Like I don't make eye contact. I just shove a meal under the door,
If I saw you on the street, I'd go the other way.
Yeah, that's right. And you're like, you may look like me, but I don't know who raised you. But here, in those places you can say that, I can be a horrible parent on stage, and it's funny because that's the thing is people laugh at what they can identify with.
Yes.
We identify wanting to do the things that I'm getting away with.
Yes.
So because we have this agreement and this trust on stage, so me and my improvisers, we do crazy, awful things, like that game, Good, Bad, Worse you saw where Sunny gives, it's a game of it giving advice. And one person is challenged to give with the worst advice ever. And her advice was so horrible. We were dying. And I always put her in that spot because she's so funny.
Yes.
She's also a social worker. She's also has like 2 degrees in I think she might have one in counseling and social work.
Awesome.
So she's the most kind, wonderful, helping in the world person. You'd never know by what she said, right? Right. So we're like, yeah, burn the house down. And for us, it's a release. It's turning the valve on being good and serious and our enoughness. There's a lot of things about realizing now how everybody feels not enough and how everybody feels like an imposter.
Yeah.
And that is so sad our society has done that, because just being born made you enough, or you wouldn't be here. It really is a challenge for a human to have a baby. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at what has to happen,
Yeah.
and if you're here, you were meant to be here. There's no other question, or you wouldn't, right?
Right.
So you were enough the moment you got here, and then everything in society makes you not enough.
Yeah.
From then on out, it's just
Yeah.
like boom, 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 and every little thing that you get that you might like, am I good enough? You know,
Always looking for that approval everywhere.
yeah. And then if you do even want to pat yourself on the back, you're like, oh well, I don't want to be blowing my own horn or whatever. No, blow
Right.
your own horn.
Right.
You know, you should say, hey, I'm surviving. I'm still here.
Yes.
More or less. And I did something
Yes.
that I'm proud of. I'm particularly proud of.
Yeah.
Whether, you know, there's a gold star with it or whatever, or more money or anything else, doesn't matter. I did something. You know, I survived a horrible marriage. Yay.
Yes.
We should give out awards for that, for getting out.
Yes.
That should be a big thing. That
Yeah.
should be like, oh wait, you got out. Congrats. We're having a party for you.
Definitely.
You know? Or some special medal of honor. But yeah, when we don't have if we don't have the self-esteem that we need in this society, then that has to change.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing, is people feeling they're not enough.
Yeah.
And in a safe place of a stage is you get to be enough, especially when we're improvising, because it's not like you studied a character that somebody else has done before or was written for you, and you have to come out and be that character, and somebody can judge whether it's enough or not. Whatever character I come up with came from somewhere within me and my experience. And it's always enough because nobody's ever done it. Just like your life. Nobody's ever been you before.
Yeah.
I think I told you guys this in classes. There's no duplicate of you that had the same parents, same life, same experience, that's got a better credit score than you. If there's another you walking around doing way better, 20 pounds lighter, whatever is important to you, or have more degrees or whatever, then you could be like, I probably should step up my game. But
right.
You are doing your experience. That's it. It's this moment is all you have. And it's perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. We also judge all our moments of not being good enough.
I think that's something that's been really helpful with my experience of when I get into my head about comparing myself to other people. Mm-hmm. I use a very similar strategy where I just say that no one is me. So there is no comparison. It doesn't exist. I can't do that. It doesn't even make sense for me to compare me to you, because we are two separate people.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
Yeah, it does. What I've noticed now as I'm aging, I compare myself to my younger self too.
Yeah.
Like I'll look at a picture of me and I'm like, girl, you put on that COVID 40. And all the things have changed, and I don't have a chin line anymore, but see, inside I still see myself as I did when I was 30. So when I'll pass by a mirror, like, oh, what happened to you? Are you doing crack? What happened? I was like, what's all this?
Who is that?
That's really how it is. I'm like, and then of course I'll be like, I should put on more lotion. I need to go work out. And then there's all these shoulds. I should myself to death instead of like, this is who you are right now. Yeah. You have been through the things you've been through. You've birthed children, and you've birthed theaters, and sometimes after 50 that shows. You don't smoke anymore. You're not sitting there drinking Mountain Dew and smoking cigarettes as your health regimen. You may be thick, but you're healthy, girl. I don't take any medications. Like, I'm doing good for 55. I'm like, why are you holding yourself to expectation of when I did have the body I wanted, right? When I was young and thin and everything else, I was making horrible decisions. I was drinking all the time. I was miserable. I was having bad relationships with people. Like, I love who I am now. And if I had to be who I was then to get back in that body, I would never want it.
Amen. Well said.
Right?
Yeah, totally agree.
I'm like, no.
Yep.
I will take this battle scar, this battleground, and be who I am, and laugh the way I laugh, and live the way I live now, and be the authentic person I am with people. Then I don't know why I can't have both, but apparently that's not how gravity works. But what I mean, I'm not in my childbearing years anyway, which is what all the sexual appeal was for,
right?
And that was also a not enoughness. I worked out like a maniac all the time, even when I was younger, to look the way I look.
Right.
I looked, and to maintain that, and it was just for somebody else's external approval.
Yes.
To have a man or a woman find me attractive, right?
And that's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
It is so exhausting.
It's still exhausting.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, look, what makes me attractive isn't this anyway. It's it's the energy that I have that I'm willing to give you
Mm-hmm.
and the time that I'm willing to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like that, come on in, you know? So, um, it's hard because I still do it because I've been programmed that I'm supposed to look a certain way,
Of course.
you know, and I'm like, I did it before, but I don't have the energy for that. If my time is the most valuable thing to me, then do I want to be spending all my time at the gym trying to look some way, which I'm probably never going to look like again, because no matter what, time does stuff to you.
Right. And biology too.
Biology, yeah, hormones, menopause has been delightful. That's why I was like, is it really hot in here? Is it hot in here? And I'm wearing tank tops, so like it's winter. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm burning from the inside out. Like, I got fire in my blood. Yeah. So it's again of that not enoughness. And then I have to go, oh wait, but I like you. You know?
Yeah.
I like living in this. I'm not in this web of thoughts in my head. I don't wake up thinking of a list of things to do anymore. I don't wake up with who I'm mad at in my head, or
ooh, good one.
I used to like, oh,
who do I get to be mad at today?
Right. And I would just sit there and all the reasons why I'm mad at them and all the things I'm going to say to them, or for 3 or 4 days, if you had to have this confrontation and you have it in your head over and over again, and you have it, you're like, listen, I don't like when you talk to me and you're ready for all this. And they're like, okay, I won't do that again. You're like, I practiced for 3 days. That's it.
It's like losing an orgasm.
Yes. It's like, I was right there. Don't you stop now. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
You ruined it. So yeah. But I'm not in hell in my brain anymore, in my own mind.
Huh.
I live in a very peaceful garden now, you know, and things can come in and I'm going to get rattled, or upset, but not to any degree that I would have before. I would have let that upsetness or whatever it was live in me and take root in me instead of like, okay, I am this solid hollow bone. I am this garden, and this thing is, you know, trying to get through my force field. I'm like, well, then I'm going to go deal with it.
Yeah.
But you don't get in here. You know, I don't want things to come in and then own me, because there's too much, especially in the world right now. This is the most trying time ever, probably ever in all of human history, you know, that we're coming off of a pandemic and possibly into World War.
Yeah.
You know, this is a terrifying time.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And we were all born to be here for this, to witness it, take part in it, to help with it, to heal it, to whatever it is. We are part of this history, which is interesting, because if you think about what you read in history books, you don't think about people like living in that time.
Yes. You're like, that happened before. We're not going through that now. That's such a good point.
Or that
but we are.
Yeah. Or that they were living lives like we are. Like somehow you think they were just the people that were soldiers in that event.
Right.
Or just the people that did that march, or just the people that did that. But now that we have full, whole lives and we're living in a moment of extreme history, you go, holy crap, all those things I read about before were so much bigger than the moment that I had to take a few minutes to think about this event that happened.
Right.
Be like, that was good or that was bad. Let's move on.
Yeah. Right.
Those are real people living real lives.
Yes.
Just like now, you're like, holy crap. And we're all affected by it.
Yes, very much so.
Which is why our opening show, I wanted to address what was going on in Ukraine. Because it's kind of hard to be like, again, let's just, everything's fine. Everything's wonderful.
Let's just laugh.
Let's just do a show. Let's just, it'll be funny. It'll be great. Right. But I always allow the darkness in with the light, because they dance together.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have light without darkness. We don't have any of those two things. It's the yin and yang and the duality of our world. It just is.
Yeah.
So to not acknowledge what's been going on, or not to acknowledge we're closed for 2 years, or not for acknowledge that we have a lot of crazy stuff going on, that we as improvisers have been doing this for a while. It's how we emote. It's how we process things.
Yeah.
So for 2 years, we didn't publicly process anything. We didn't get to hang out with each other and play.
Yeah.
And that's been my therapy for all this time. And I'm just like, can we do 8s? Anybody? Yes, people on the streets? Like, I'm trying to do bits with people. They're like, you're not gonna make it through this, are you? So it is, when your art requires other people to be in close proximity and to play with each other, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even online was not the same.
God,
It
no.
was awful.
No, yeah, I do experiential therapy, which involves a bit of acting. It uses props and things that you
yeah.
move around the room, and you're very much involved. Like the therapist is actually part of the process.
Oh, wonderful.
So the client is still, they're in charge, they're in the driver's seat, but the therapist is actually there with you, standing with you as you're going
Yeah.
through it. So it's a form of acting, but it's really like it's your story. So you
Yeah.
can't make that up. It's really your story.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's just that element of being with them. And I also run a group too that I've been using some of the improv stuff.
Please
with.
do. Yes. Yes, you should.
Love it.
Absolutely.
But that element of just being with somebody has just been so powerful, and it's revolutionized my therapy practice, because before that I was doing just traditional stuff and I was getting so burnt out, and there's so much distance between me and the
Yeah.
person. Like this just isn't working. But ever since starting experiential, it's changed my life.
Sounds wonderful, because it is bringing that improvisational
Very
part of
much.
it into it.
Very much.
And
I don't know where it's going to go. That's
Great.
that's the fun of it. I have
and
no
that
idea where
person
it's
being in
going
the
to go.
driver's seat, it's like when I do exercise with you guys, I said, I'm going to be right here.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
assume it's like that. It's like
It
I'm right
is.
here kind of coaching you through it, but I'm
It
going to kind
is.
of let you run it. And I
Yep.
say, nobody's leading, nobody's following. You guys do it together. Figure it out.
Yeah.
But I'm right here if you need me.
Yes. Quite literally, there's exercises where we do a lot of standing. Everything is standing, and they're maybe having a conversation with their inner child or just a piece of something. And the therapist is behind them. I'm right here. Like it's how do you say that? Just diagonal to them. So I'm
Okay.
literally standing right behind them as they're going through their experience, and they can
Beautiful.
turn towards me and I can coach them a little bit. What's going on right now? What's going on in your body? Okay, go back. You know?
Oh, you're going to love this one exercise we're going to do.
Yay. But I wanted to join
Ugh.
improv because I have such a hard time getting out of my head, feeling like
Yeah.
I got to have the next step. I got to have it all figured out, because clients are always coming to me like, fix me, either
Right.
that being advertent or inadvertent.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very subconscious, but I'm such a mess that I came to you to fix me. And that's not what it's about.
Right.
Right.
You're just holding the space like I did for you guys. I can't make you learn
Yes.
improv.
Yes.
I can teach you the games.
Yes.
I can play with you,
Right.
which I do. And then I can give you the framework in a safe environment. Like that's why I go through the ground rules the first day.
Yeah.
Of all that stuff. It's like
Yep.
this is how we treat each other here. We have a social contract of love and acceptance, gratitude, building on each other's ideas, being grateful that we're all so different so we can use each other's life story and life experiences as a benefit and a plus to us, right? And I think and that's why you can see as you can use some of these.
I
I'd
use
say
almost
they're-
all of it.
They're great for therapy. They're great as drinking games. They're great for
Yeah.
kids. I mean, games are for people.
Yeah.
And we learn, Viola Spolin, if you read her book, she started using them as therapeutic devices. This is where all this originated.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. And then it went to, and I think it was for special needs children is where improv started. So
Oh.
a lot of her games, and she did it in a lot more holistic coachy way. So it's kind of pulled away from that. And then now people like me, and I don't know how many other teachers are purposely integrating energy medicine into their improv school and theater like I do.
Mhm.
I make that very well known that I'm like, we're doing a little bit of everything. But it's come back into play,
Yeah.
and I may be like the first person that's charging hard is like, this is an energy medicine, like, I've had two well, one's been published, one's going to be an energy medicine magazine
Wonderful.
that are about improv as a tool.
Yeah.
So, and then the podcast that a different one that I did, and she's on the West Coast, is it just like the what you're developing too is there are other ways. It doesn't have to be when we talk about our problems, because some of us, especially women, we've talked our problems to death. We know what our
Yes.
problems are. Okay. What we
Yes.
need is to practice skills to either change that story, because the story of the event that happened, wherever the event was, we have a certain story about it, which may not necessarily be true.
Mhm.
Stories are stories. We just tell stories all day long, and we can go back and change the stories, even of the same event. We can go back and change those.
Yes.
Which is a project that I want to work on.
Yes.
With people, especially people who've been through domestic battery,
Yes.
things like that, which is some of the trauma that I suffered. Is that it wasn't necessarily about something happening to you that was just made you a victim, but it's also something that makes you an advocate.
Yeah. Right. Right. I heard a statistic the other day that 50% of what we remember from our memories isn't even real.
Mm.
It's not even real. So if that's the case, then we get the ability to rewrite our stories.
Absolutely.
Why
Like
the hell wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah. Well, and like a simple case with me was I remember after going through a breakup and I had to talk to my ex about something and he was so hostile on the phone with me. And I was so upset and I was just spinning out after I got the phone. I'm like, how dare you? Blah, blah, blah. And all the story about all the things I'd done for him and all the ways he had betrayed me. And I was just like having a miserable day because that's what was going on in my head.
Yeah.
It was actually a beautiful day out. And I'd taken his call early on and I was in a good mood before it started. And they're like, oh, here he's toxifying my day again. But see, I allowed it. And what I did was like, okay, I really just sat with this and said, do you want to have a miserable day feeling this toxicity? Or do you want to rewrite what just happened? Like, oh, he's scared and he's alone now.
Right.
No wonder why he's reaching. He's coming out after me.
Yes.
Because now he doesn't have me as his advocate and his protector.
Yes.
Okay. He's scared. Well, I'm going to let him be scared. I'm going to have a good day. Because I don't have to own that. I don't have to live in that. And I don't have to live in feeling like, oh, dare he, all that indignant feeling and go through our whole history. I lived that history. I know what I did and what he did. And why am I doing it again?
Exactly.
And
It's
so,
done.
boy, we went,
yeah.
We'll put it all in the file. Yeah.
We're living in the past.
Yeah.
Even in the present, we're still living in the past.
And that's the thing where they say there is no future and there's no present, no past, because all you're doing is pulling emotions from the past into this now.
Right.
Or fear, trepidation, hopefulness of the future into this moment now, but you can only experience it right now. This is the only time I can experience anything is in the moment that I am in. And it depends on what I think about what I'm going to experience.
Yeah.
So again, if my time is the most important thing to me, my now is sacred. So I don't want to go in the past and pull up stuff that has already happened, that I've moved through, that I've already experienced and bring that back with me. That's like letting somebody victimize me over and over again, whether they're there or not.
Yeah.
I'm allowing it. I'm
in
opening
essence,
the door.
That's what's happening.
That's exactly
what's
what's happening.
Getting victimized over and over again because you chose that.
Yeah.
Or you're
but most people
that.
don't know they're choosing that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just put it. I mean, you can literally lie to yourself and just be like, he loves me so much. He can't be nice to me. Too bad. Bye. And then just never, and just, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The story of why things happen doesn't matter as long as you feel good about it. It can be a blatant mistruth. As long as you feel good about it.
Yep.
You feel good about thinking the person loves you so much that you're so good they can't be with you.
Right.
I feel great about it.
Yeah.
I don't feel so sad or betrayed or anything. I'm like, oh yeah, they just couldn't be at this light level.
Yeah. Right.
And if they're not there, they need to go have those experiences to where they can get there.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel great. Whether it's true or not, who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Yep.
People tell me about a bunch of things, like things that people will my kids will ask me philosophical things about, well, do you think that's true or not? And people think, I said, it doesn't matter what's true. What makes you feel good?
Yeah.
And that's why people talk about fake news. And we don't know, it's propaganda one way or the other. We don't really know what's going on unless we see it with our own eyes. We really don't know in most ways. It's like, if it makes me angry, then I'm going to choose that's not what I'm going to be following. Like what the fake news is, things that are making people angry and turn on one another.
Right.
People are creating stories for you. It's bad enough when we create stories
Right.
that make us feel crappy. I'm not letting somebody else somewhere, I don't know where they came from, create a story about people I don't know that I can't witness and tell me how to feel.
Yes.
And that's what that's about. That's the bad part of social media, is letting somebody else tell you how to feel that day.
Right.
And what your opinion should be of an event, of people or peoples, of political stances, of vaccines, about anything, if somebody else is writing the story for you.
Yeah. It's manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't write the story of my life for me. I'm going to choose how I feel about
It's
things.
marketing monopolizing on the fact that we are so influential, or influenced rather. We're so influenced.
Yeah, because we were taught to be outside in people.
Yeah.
Outside in people are influenced by the outside. You care what the outside says, and you're moved around like a paper bag in the wind, by what's going on around you. Like, oh, well, this is going to school. I couldn't be okay. Like, yeah, you can be okay in the middle of anything if you want to.
Yeah.
If you're an inside out person, an inside out person is you ground yourself in you and in your truth and who you want to be. And then you act towards the world based on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was an outside in person, and it took a lot to get to being an inside out person.
Sure.
To where I'm like, oh, I see this happening. I see this coming, or I see this painful situation. How can I be okay in here and then go address this?
Yeah.
And sometimes that takes stepping away.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a good hot bath. Sometimes it takes shutting down social media, everything for days. I will go into bear cave and like, let me get myself straight. I know I'm not straight. Outside things have seeped into my sense of being.
Yep.
So it goes, I'll take myself on trips. I'll go to the woods. I'll go wherever I need to maintain me.
Yes.
So I can come out and be a light for others, but I can't be dimmed and do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So what is an improv shaman?
It really isn't a thing. Improv shaman, the name of that was saying that improvisation is a medicine. It's a shamanistic, which is transformative, right? So shaman usually live outside of a tribe. They don't live in the core part of it. And they will go and they will commune with their self, with their higher self, in order to benefit their community. So they kind of have their own little groove going on, like I just talked about. Like your own way of centering yourself so you can come back with answers. And also from other dimensions, from other soul sources, right? Prayer, lot in prayer. When we do improvisation, so this is like making my book into like a couple sentences. When we do our improv, it is magical and transformative.
Yes.
Not just what happens with you all, but when we're on stage, we make you believe things that are not there. When I do object work, I'm not doing anything but moving my hands around. And you're like, don't drop that.
Right.
You're like, it's not real. So there is magic that's being done. You are affecting, influencing, and healing your community.
Yeah.
By using non-ordinary reality.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. So object work is non-ordinary reality. Our characters are non-ordinary reality. None of these things are real. But we're pretending they are so hard they become real for us. Yeah. And then they become real for the audience. So the whole audience experiences exactly what we're experiencing. So the healing that we're getting by playing, the audience is getting it. So we have this energy flow, this beautiful, magical energy.
Yeah.
So that's to me, that's shamanism. That's medicine woman. That's medicine man.
I love what you're touching on here, because with me being four sessions in, I know so much.
You know more than you did.
That's true. But the one thing that I'm just getting a taste of is that being in the audience feels like one experience, but being up on stage and doing a scene, or just being in front of other people acting like a freaking idiot, right?
Yeah.
That feels like a very different experience. In other words, like if I'm in the audience, I have an idea of what it's like for that person up on stage. But then when I'm the one that's doing it, it's a completely different experience. Does that make sense?
I think so. I mean, both of them are healing, right? Just like when you had medicine work done, the practitioner is also revitalized by doing the work.
Right.
Right. Because we're doing reciprocal, where this energy circle is being completed.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the same thing. It may be different for you as a therapist, as a person that you're working with, or for an energy medicine practitioner. And I sometimes am in the seat of the practitioner, and sometimes as a patient. Right. So we move back and forth. Sometimes you're on stage, sometimes you're in the audience.
Yes.
Right. But you're still having a circle. It is different, and maybe a different intensity. Sometimes you have the skill or the life experience to give the medicine. And sometimes you're getting the healing medicine, because what you haven't gotten yet was being in front of a live audience. When they laugh at that, when they accept your offering and you've moved through them and they give it back to you. Oh my God, it feels amazing. Aww. And it's not an ego amazing. I think the first few years, definitely I needed that. I'm just like, please approve of me. My body, but now it is just this exchange. It's like, I'm loving you and you're loving me.
Yeah.
And there's just this love exchange. And to me, that hour and a half when I'm on stage is, I want these people to forget about all the bullshit in their life.
Yeah.
For an hour and a half, I've got you. We're going to play. You're in my house. You're in the fun house. You're in, Kellywood for a while, and we were going to enjoy each other's company and just make up some crazy shit. And we're all going to laugh together. So part of it is once you start getting that back, that's very addictive.
Yeah.
And that's the best drug ever, is because I gave them something. And even the act of laughing is healing. Cortisol goes down. You know what happens in the brain when somebody's laughing, especially those deep belly laughs. You know what I mean? So I know physically stress hormones are lessening in the brains of the people in that audience.
Yeah.
They're, even the that acting moves out of the body, moves tension out of the body. And the less tension we have in the body, less inflammation we have. It's healing. It's physically healing, not just emotional healing, for people to come and laugh together.
Right.
It's a social thing too. Even though you're strangers, you're all laughing together. It becomes very much a social thing.
It is. Yeah.
So when that's happening, and I'm just being who I am. I'm just doing bits. I'm using my craft. And like even in that show, I'm not even in a lot of it because I'm hosting right now a lot.
Right.
So, but it's the people also that I've trained that have been through this as you are as a student. There's people up there we're in the same place you were.
Yeah.
And you can look at them and go, they're amazing.
Yes.
But you're on the path to amazing because it's the exact same exercises and everything you've done. Is who surrenders the most.
Oh, I like that.
That's who gets to be the best, is who surrenders the most. And I even said to my granddaughters, I'm lucky I get to make an ass of myself for a living.
Yeah.
It's not just like I was probably going to do it anyway. Like I am who I am, right? But instead of trying to hide that part of me in a corporate environment and try and behave, I get to not behave and act like a total goober. And then people are like, yay, you're brilliant. I'm like, but you are too.
Yeah.
You just hide it most of the time.
Yeah.
So in class, I'm just taking all that off. I'm just pulling all those layers of hidden off of people.
Yeah.
And now as you see it in your own class, there's people with different levels of it.
Mm-hmm.
People with different fear levels of being exposed as a human being.
Right.
So the more I can be human, especially in classes, and open about who I am and what a goober I am and everything else, the more my students can relax too.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally feel that, understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, it's all about surrender. Like, and I try and tell people from the beginning, like, just like love, if you expect it to fail, or you're not good enough, or they're not good enough, you're not going to have this beautiful open relationship of what it can be.
Yeah.
Right. And this is about love. This is about loving yourself and trusting yourself enough to be with other people, exposed and raw and learning. And if you can be in that space, you're gonna get really good.
Yeah.
Because you get to be really human. We get access to the beauty of you.
Yeah.
The more people hide themselves because of ego or fear or whatever, the less light can shine through.
Right.
And the less we have to play with.
Yeah. Good way to
You know
put
what I mean?
that.
It's like all that light shines. So even in the show you saw, all those people were very confident in who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was so fun, because they're like, I don't care. I'll do the craziest stuff because I have you here with me.
Yeah.
And they just let it roll.
Yeah.
And that's what really makes somebody a good comedian.
Yeah.
To me, is their authenticity, their ability to be human, their ability to be vulnerable. And then we get to see through their story, their life story, who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm so excited about that. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I chose to start this process, is because I want to get out of my head. I want to, doing this is nerve wracking, and doing all the other things that I like to do for the business, but also personally too. Like, I just want to get to a place where I don't give a fuck.
Well, I'll get you there. Stay with me, girl, because there should be no fucks given.
Yeah.
I had this vision once, and it was, and this is kind of more shamanistically the things that happened to me. And it was that I had died. I went, and St. Peter was there, and I'm not Catholic, but St. Peter was there. And sometimes spirit shows you a story in a way that you can understand. So this is the way this story was shown to me. This meaning was given to me by spirit. And in this vision, I go, okay. And I said, where's my life? Because I thought there was a big book, how'd I do?
Yeah.
Right. Which is funny because I came up from the scene last time, like, how'd I do? And St. Peter took me to a beach, and there's all the sand as far as you can see, just beach. He goes, I don't know, one of these grains of sand somewhere around here is probably you. And I'm like, well, that was really dismissive, right? And so I pick up some sand. I said, so I could be one of these my whole life. Everything I lived, all my love, all my pain, everything could be just, they all looked identical, by the way. Every grain of sand was identical. I said, so this one here could be mine, and that one could be Mother Teresa, and that could be Hitler. He goes, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I go, what? Wait, how can they have the same value? Because of based on what they did. And the message was, the value of your life is your time. And you could be given 2 years or 20 years or 100 years, and what you do with it.
Yeah.
And that is your choice.
Yeah.
But in the end, we're all here together.
Yeah.
All in the end. And I'm like, well, wait, if it doesn't matter, and we're all, whether you're Mother Teresa or Hitler or whoever, we're all here together. We're all these lives that are now gone. This time that is spent, this time is now at a beach. Why am I doing all these stupid things for other people and that don't matter to me, that are not mine? That
Right.
why am I taking on value systems that are not mine? Why am I taking on truths people are telling me that are not mine and I know differently? Why do you get to tell me who God is? Why is any of this? It's like, wait, I'm just going to be dumped on a beach with everybody else. I'm living this for me.
Right.
Right.
This is where I end up. Wait.
Right. So, and it was very empowering to say, this is mine. This is the one time that I know of that this soul gets to be here.
Yeah.
Now, I spent many years doing things I didn't want to do and making still bad choices, but I go back to that often. I'm like, man, I should listen to that way back when I got this in my 30s. It takes a while for lessons to sink in for me.
That's how it works.
Right. But to go, what am I doing with my time, with my life here?
Yeah.
And again, I think that the 2 years downtime really gave a lot of people time to think about that. We got off the out of the rat race long enough to go, had to get used to it at first. Like, who am I if I'm not doing? And then people started making bread and whatever, exploring different parts of themselves.
Got creative.
Yes. And they was like, there's more to me than what I was doing. I was so busy, I didn't get to see me.
Yeah.
So now we're at that place where we can say, what do I want?
Beautiful space to be in.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you can earn a living anyway. Jobs are abundant right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what will make you happy? Like I was thinking that too. And I was like, oh, theater's gone now. I'd like to work in a flower shop. I had to think about it. I want to work for something, like a pet shelter, animal shelter. Like I literally looked for jobs and things that would make me happy, even though they would make me less than going back to corporate, because I wasn't going to do that again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'll live in a little crappy house and I'll go work at a dog daycare, but I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I had a house with a pool.
Yeah.
I sold it. Clearly that wasn't the thing.
Yeah.
But what are we getting out of it? The value of our time.
Exactly. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
This is so much fun.
Is it?
I could do this for another 2 hours.
I know,
It's
but
amazing.
we got shows to do.
Yes. Yeah. We got improv.
We got
to do.
stuff to do.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to make people laugh.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. If you're interested in
so.
learning more about Kelly and what they've got going on at the Charlotte Comedy Theater, look it up on all the socials. Also check out her book, The Improv Shaman. And yeah, we got shows. Got lots of shows.
Yeah. It's www.charlottecomedytheater.com. We have shows. We have a new session of classes coming the end of this month. So March 31st is our next level 1 starting. So if you want to be part of the process and feel it yourself, there's nothing like actually doing it to experience it compared to what we're saying.
Sure.
So with that, we have shows every Friday and Saturday at 8 at the Visual and Performing Arts Center in Charlotte, which is new. It's called the Baptist Center downtown, 700 North Tryon. And it's like walking into an art gallery.
It's beautiful.
Amazing. We have 125 artists in the building
Beautiful.
that are creating in the studios there. And then we have performing arts like myself. We also have African drumming and dancing classes. We've got everything going on at BAPA. So you can look up the Baptist Center as well, and charlottecomedytheater.com for us for improv and stand-up classes and shows.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening. Catch you next time. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Blue Sage Holistic Healing. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.